Hi everyone, so I've had a few requests from people to go through this one. So this is just setting up a reverse foot control in Maya. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to create my IK chain for this leg. So to do that, I'm just going to Skeleton, go to IK Handle Tool Options, and I want to choose a Rotate Plane Solver. So it's Rotate Plane Solver there. So I can make a pole vector for this later. If it's on the other one, Single Chain Solver, then I won't be able to make a pole vector. So let me just click that joint there, click that one at the bottom, and that just creates my IK handle. And that's working, that's bending nicely, that's what I want it to do. And I'm just going to rename this IK foot left. So that's my IK handle for the left hand side. Now the reverse foot control can be a little bit tricky to set up, so one of the important things to do is to make sure that you're working with the right set of bones. So first up, I'm going to just create a separate layer for these. This is my bind skeleton. So by coming down here, I click this button, and this just gives me where is he? Two layers. Oh, so delete layer. Double click on this guy, and just going to rename this bind joint layer. And hit save. And that just means I can easily hide that layer. It hasn't assigned it, so I'm just going to click the joint, right click here, and go add selected objects. There we go. Now it's assigned to that layer. Okay, so first up, what I want to do is I want to create a duplicate of this joint's structure here, because I want the position of each of these joints. I'm going to reroute these joints, but first of all I just want the position. So I'm just going to select those joints, hit Control D to duplicate, and Shift P to unparent. Now that I've got those that new chain, which is sitting exactly on top of where the old chain was, I'm going to hide the bind skeleton. And now I've got foot ankle L1 out here, and I'm going to rename these guys and give them and call them my reverse foot control layer. So go into modify and prefix hierarchy names, and just change this to RF underscore, and then go OK. And that will just rename all these joints RF. And I want to create one more joint. I want to create a joint back here that's going to be the main joint, which is going to be for the heel, so he can tap his toe. So I'm going to duplicate that toe joint, unparent it from the hierarchy, and I'm going to rename this joint RF heel JNT underscore L, and then I'm just going to change this to object mode for movement. So my RF joint, and I'm going to just push this back in the heel down to about here, just near the base of the foot, and that's going to form my base ball joint for the rear of the foot there. So I can sort of tap his foot up and down. Okay, and now what I need to do is reverse the direction of these joints. So right now this is the root. This one's the this ankle joint is the root joint, but I want this guy to be the root joint. So first of all, I'm just going to reroute the skeleton. So I'm going to select this bottom joint, the toe joint, and go up to skeleton and go to reroute skeleton, and that'll just make this joint now the root joint. And I'm going to select this guy, so select this guy, then this guy, and hit P, and now this is the root joint. That's what I want. This is what I want for my reverse skeleton. You can sort of see how this is going to work now. The heel is going to go backwards and forwards, the tip of the foot's going to come up for that toe roll, and then this joint is going to come up and down here. So this is kind of what my reverse foot skeleton is going to do. So I'm done with the reverse foot skeleton. I'm going to make a layer for it, and I'm going to call this reverse foot. Reverse foot LAY, and save it. I'm going to hide that. I'm going to bring back my bind skeleton, because this is the layer that I'm going to make my IK handles on for the feet. So I need to make two IK handles, so I'm going to go up to skeleton, IK handle options, and change it back to single plane solver. And click there once, and click there again, creates one IK handle. Select off it, click the IK joint tool again, click that one, and click that one. Okay. Going to rename this one, so this is going to be my ball IK left, and this is going to be toe IK left. Great, and now that I'm done with that, I'm going to hide my bind layer, bring back my reverse foot control, okay? and I'm going to just parent these into my reverse foot control. And so ball goes under ball joint, so I'm just going to middle mouse block and drag and drop. You could just do this. This is parenting just manually. And then for toe, I'm just going to come in here and just drag and drop underneath the toe joint, which is this one here. And what that's going to do is, yep, that looks pretty good. And there's one more I need to do, and that is I need to drop my IK foot. It needs to go underneath this joint here at the very tip, which is the ankle joint. So grab IK foot and just drop it underneath the ankle joint. So that's a quick look at what that hierarchy should look like. So it's a reverse of the way the foot normally flows. And what does this mean? It means that I can now tap this foot. There we go, with that joint. I can grab the toe, excuse me, move it up and down, grab the ball, move that up and down, and you can see how that's animating the layer underneath it. So we're sort of using the IK handles for the bind skeleton, almost like constraints, but instead of working as constraints, they're attached to or plugged into the reverse foot control. So next up, I just need to create a control for all this, because we don't want to kind of be going in here and grabbing some joints. So I'm just going to create a circle, move it over, scale it up, just grab its control vertices. I'm just going to make a quick foot here. You can make a box for this if you wanted to, whatever you're used to using as far as control curves. You can get kind of fancy with these as well, but I'm just going to make a very simple, fairly obvious foot control. Move that back over there, shift that one there. How's that looking? Yeah, it's kind of looking foot-like. Select my NURB circle and call this one foot. Sorry, yeah, foot control left. And I'm going to go to modify, freeze my transformations, and edit, delete by type history, so it's nice and clean. And I'm also going to move its locator. So at the moment, its pivot point is right here in the middle of the foot. I'm just going to hit home or insert on the keyboard, depending if you're on a Mac or a PC. And then I'm going to hold down the V key and just snap this over to the heel. Push insert again. And so that's just basically so that that pivot point lines up with where that heel is. Okay. And the last but not least, I'm going to grab this reverse foot control rig. So not the hip joints, not the bind skeleton, just the reverse foot control. Middle mouse button, drag and drop that underneath my foot control. And that gives me a pretty good setup of my foot control there. So I can rotate that around, tilt that up and down, pull that all the way out, and we'll try and follow that even if I move it out of the way. That's looking pretty good. So the last but not least thing I need to do is just plug in some of these rotation values for the reverse foot control into some controls here, so the animator can grab them without having to come in here and try and grab these joints. So I'm going to hide the bind skeleton layer so I don't get confused, because it's very easy to accidentally grab the wrong joint if there's too many options. And what I'm going to do is just quickly create some extra attributes. So first up, I'm going to lock and hide the scale and the visibility, so we don't need to see those. So lock and hide selected. And then next up, I'm going to come in here and add some attributes to this guy. So grab the foot control, modify, add attribute, and the first one I'm just going to call is extra attributes. And I'm going to make that a displayable layer, an enum. I come in here, click the blue, double click on this, delete it, grab that one, double click on this, and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, say 7. So make a displayable layer, and I'm just going to add that, and that just gives me a little dividing line in my channel box here, divide between one or another. And then I'm just going to create a float value, and I'm going to create one called toe. So let's see, we want heel, roll, it's keyable, float, and hit add. And one called toe, roll, and then one called ball, roll. I'm going to add each of these guys. Now that I've got those, I can go through here and just connect these guys up. So I'm just going to go into the connection editor. So that's Window, General Editors, Connection Editor. Right, I'll bring that over so we can see it. Now you might need to go into here, Left Display, and just choose untick the Show the Keyable, so you don't have this really long list of stuff. So just click, make sure that's unticked for both columns. That's just going to make it a little bit easier to see and grab the values that we want to grab. So I've got these controls here on the left, and I want my rotate heel to control this guy's rotation, and the axis that I want is this one. So just check and make sure you want that axis. It's rotate X, so reload right. So heel roll plugs into foot. I need to make sure I reload it, so reload right. There we go. Get that joint. Reload right. There we go. So it just wasn't updating. So make sure I've clicked the joint and click reload right, and this guy is loaded on the left. And then I plug heel roll into rotate X. I'm going to take the toe roll here. Make sure I grab the toe joint. Yep, toe joint. Reload right. Make sure that's the joint that I want. Okay, toe roll, rotate. It's rotate X for this one. And ball roll is this guy here. So reload right, and ball roll plugs into, now for this one it's the blue channel, so it's actually Z, so make sure you check these as you go. So ball roll goes into rotate Z. And now if I come into my control here, I have a control for moving the foot around, rotating it, tipping the heel up, backwards and forwards, rotating from the top of the toe, and rotating from the ball of the foot. Should the animator want to push off from that foot. Okay, and that's a quick example of how to build your own reverse foot control rig. Next up, I'll cover some stuff on how to do the pole vector for this knee, how to find its angle, and how to build a pole vector that actually follows where this foot is going. Okay, great.